All right, so here we are. I'm going to go over the 2020 AP testing guide. This is what AP went over with us today or yesterday. And what I want to make sure you understand, and this was a neat way he said this, if it's not mentioned in this PowerPoint, then you don't really have to worry about it. They didn't want to make like a 100-page testing guide. They just wanted to show you what they had policies about. And if they don't say it in here, you can check with me, but it usually means it's not something they're worried about. So let's sort of go through this. And again, you can come to any of the live sessions or during Remind and ask me any questions on it. But I figured doing a live session might be a waste. A lot of you have too busy, so I just wanted to make a video of me going over this to make sure you understand what's going on for this testing situation. All right, so here we go. Summary of resources for AP. So this testing guide is obviously a resource. You've got an exam day checklist. Each student is going to want to complete this in advance of the AP exam test date. You can find that on my AP. Required documents the student should print out or download for specific exams. And if you don't have a printer, you might want to see in your community. Often your parents will have like a Facebook site to see if anyone might have a printer. If you don't have any access to a printer, try to contact me and I'll see if there's a way I can get you stuff. Testing demo. This is going to be on May 4th, which is Star Wars Day, people. So I will have limited conductivity. No, I'll be available on Remind. But on Star Wars Day, which is May 4th, you're going to have a chance to test a testing site out. They're going to give you a testing code, which is actually going to be practice, I believe. And you can be able to log on to the test. You'll be able to put in an answer, upload an answer to make sure you can. Now, if you cannot log on to that system, that's where we know we have a problem, because that's the system they're going to be using. So it'll give you a feel of what it will look like and things like that. You can do it as many times as you want. There's going to be little bits here on world history and English and stuff, or music. I tried to delete most of it, which is why if you look at the PowerPoint page number, they won't always match, because I did get rid of some of those. So I'm not going to go into them because we take physics. So there will be some stuff specific to AP World, language and culture, and some stuff specific to foreign languages and music, and you'll want to discuss that with your teacher. All right, so about the AP, so this is sort of the things we're going to go over, these four little things. All right, so first, about your AP exam ticket. This is important. You're going to see this ticket. You can see it here on the right. You're going to receive that 2 days before each test. On exam day, you'll need the e-ticket to check into your exam. That's basically like your password and ID, so that's important to have. You'll get a unique ticket for each exam. You can also access your e-ticket on your student account, so if you're not getting it through email, you'll be able to check it there. Each e-ticket is personalized for you, and it is not transferable, so you do not want to share that e-ticket with anyone else. It could possibly void your actual test. The AP program can't accept any additional exam registrations for this year, so if you haven't registered, it's kind of over. So hopefully you've already registered. Make sure to save your May e-ticket email in case you need it to request a makeup exam, because you're going to want to have that ticket information to request makeup information if you had an issue with the May exam. All right, your e-ticket will only be available for the May exam. All registered students have been scheduled for these May dates, whether or not they were originally registered for the regular or late testing exams, because those you can't only register for the late testing exams. And again, you want to track it in May, because if something happens in June, you are out of luck. It doesn't matter if it is a totally legitimate excuse or anything. Anything happens in June, there's nothing they can do. And you really want to try to take it in May. Now be careful. We're going to have millions of people hitting this system at once, and they will never have had to test it for the actual traffic they're dealing with, but you definitely want to try to take it in May. If anything happens, you get the June date automatically. Unless there's significant conflict, students should test in May, so they have the June dates at backup. There might be some conflicts, but they tried their best to make sure they could do them in different ways. Obviously, Monday, 11th is AP Physics C. And then what is it? We got Thursday, May 14th is going to be AP Physics 1. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you look at the times, this is a holdout to actually when I was in college, when they had issues of the SAT, people were taking it on the East Coast and sharing those answers to the West Coast, or whatever one came first. They are now taking these tests at the exact same time. So yeah, 12 p.m., 11 a.m., 9 a.m., and if you're in Greenwich Mean Time, which would be England, 4 p.m., so that's kind of funny. Everyone will be taking the test at the exact same time. Yeah. Okay, now makeup dates. Remember, if you have a conflict in May and you don't use your May e-ticket, you will automatically receive a June ticket for that exam. So that's kind of nice. If you miss it, if you wake up late, which is a really bad thing to do, you also be able to request any ticket for June makeup dates. You have any disruption during your May exam. So once you finish with your exam in May, and there was a problem, all of a sudden something happened, a family emergency, a bolt of lightning, you will have like 48 hours to request a makeup day. Now, they will respond back to you. There are more events come June, no additional scheduled makeups. I think they'll respond to you. I don't remember what the date they said was, but they'll respond to you in a couple weeks if your June e-ticket is approved. And that's an important thing to understand. They are going to have a lot of monitoring software going on, you guys. So if you run out of time and you manage your time poorly, they're not going to approve you a ticket in May. You need to have a valid reason why, and they're going to be able to. They're going to be able to obviously collaborate that with what happened with your account during the testing time. So make sure you're paying attention to your time. If something totally legitimate happens, you got 48 hours at the end of the test to request a makeup e-ticket. All right, let's see here. Monday, June 1st is going to be AP Physics C. And then Tuesday, June 2nd is AP Physics 1. So there are those makeup dates. All right, so each subject will be taken simultaneously worldwide. Makes me wonder where some people will be taking it because they're, I don't know. Your AP teacher and coordinator will help you identify your local testing time. Obviously, we are Eastern Standard Time, if you didn't know that. Art stuff we don't really care about. But for instance, if you're taking it 11 a.m. Los Angeles, New York is taking it 2 p.m. and Madrid, Spain is taking it 8 p.m. That's just kind of funny to me. Okay, moving on. What to expect in this year's exam? It won't be more difficult to earn a 3, 4, 5. Even if an exam question seems more difficult to expect it, don't worry. Difficult questions require fewer points to earn 3, 4s, and 5. The easier the question, require more points. So this year's scores will be very similar to prior year's scores. So stay calm, read each question, do as much as you can. The exams aren't graded on a curve, and this year's exams are no different. Don't worry if you don't complete all parts of the question. They are aware that some of these questions, even to get a 5, they're not giving you necessarily enough time. Now, that doesn't mean you should work efficiently, because you need to work efficiently. But that doesn't mean you should rush or take your sweet time trying to look up the answers. They have made it very clear that you are not going to find answers by looking them up online. And that time you take online is going to be wasted time. You're going to want those quick reference sheets that I made videos on during this week on how to make some quick reference sheets. You're going to want to have your resources around you, things like that. So again, if you don't finish the test, it's okay. But when that 5 minutes is up, you need to start uploading. Many of you have noticed that you have had trouble uploading. That's a very vital part. You don't upload, there's nothing that can be done. The call centers are literally not open for AP. So don't bother calling. And the emails, they're not going to accept, oh, here's my response. They're not going to accept emails from you guys either. So you have to get them uploaded. All right, so because creating a testing environment is at home is a challenge for some students, the exam is much shorter. So we know that you're probably not going to be able to have 3 hours of quiet time with good stuff, but they have provided some things in here. And this year, exam provides you with fewer questions than usual to show the extent of what you've learned this year. We want to ensure that you have a fair opportunity to show. AP teachers will have different chances to review the score. That's an interesting one. So listen to this one very closely. So AP teachers will have the chance to review your score and your exam responses this summer. If you don't receive a score of 3 or higher and your teacher is convinced you should have, your teacher will be able to engage with the AP program's College Board faculty partners to review and confirm your score, ensuring it's fair and appropriate. So there are 2 things that I'm going to be required to do. A, require that it is actually your work. And 2, I can possibly, if I feel they graded it poorly, help influence your score to get up to a higher score. So maybe you want to stay in contact with me a little bit during this testing time. I'm just saying, but that is important to understand. All right, so here we go. The exam questions are viewed by students on a web browser like Chrome. Students type or write their responses outside that browser. They can choose from 3 different options to submit. So you can copy and paste a typed response, you can attach a typed response, or you can attach 1 or more photos of a handwritten response. Music theory and world language and culture exams have, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so option 1, copy and paste a typed response and then click submit. This is the one that they said was not the best idea, but it can happen. But the problem is copying and pasting is you will have lots of issues with formatting. So you're going to have to double check your response, which is extra time. Type your response in Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Notes, or a similar application. Don't include images. Save your work often. It's the one thing that's really nice about Google Docs and Microsoft Word. If you're logged into your OneDrive account, which you all have with the exact same email you log into Google Drive with, but it auto-saves, so that's a good thing to use. Type your AP ID and initials at the top of the response. So this is important to understand, and they had talked about this pretty heavily. If you're going to use Word or Google Docs, make a folder today. called AP Exam. Type your type your AP ID and your initials, and I'd also put my name on there at the top of the page. Actually put it right there, save it, and save a couple pages of that so that when you go to do the test, you just open up that file and start typing your answer, and that stuff is already there, so you don't have to worry about it. So that stuff you can have done ahead of time, which is a really good idea. Exam day setup, side-by-side windows. Window 1, it has to be Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or Edge. You cannot use Internet Explorer. Now, that's an older browser, but they did say something about 4% of people are using it. That browser will not work. Now, if the way they're phrasing it, this was actually written to be done in Chrome, but will work in Safari, Firefox, or Edge. When May 4th comes and you test it out with whichever browser you're using, that's how you can tell which browser you want to use. But their definite recommendation was Chrome. It'll display the test question. It'll display timers. Now, you can shrink the timer. Don't do that. Also, if your parents are a cook or you have an extra phone and there's some timers around, man, you bring those to the table with you when you take this test. Because that timing is, in my opinion, what is going to hurt many of you. Because that is the massive problem, uploading having enough time to upload it and get it into there and hit that submit button. Window 2, where you type your document or Google Docs. So it's kind of like you have a side-by-side view. Some of you have seen my setup where I have 2 computers, and so I don't have to do side-by-side view, but it is a good idea to have a side-by-side view so you can see the question. This is where a phone is going to be a weakness because you're going to have to do a lot of scrolling. That takes up time. All right. And so, yeah, you're going to type your response right there in their actual thing or Microsoft Word. And then you would copy and paste it in there. Be careful of that because you've got to check all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? All of the formatting issues that can happen. Option 2, which I think is a pretty good option, type a response in Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Notes, or similar application. Don't include images. Save your work often. Save the document in one of the accepted file formats, doc, docx, PDF, TXT, or ODT. Now, be careful here. This is where I got a little confused. They said you can use Google Docs. The problem is Google Docs save things very weirdly. You are going to have to save it again, and I believe download it to one of these type of files. Doc and docx, those are Microsoft Word. PDF, okay, that's Adobe's. Everybody knows what that is. You can save as a PDF in Google Docs. TXT, it's going to be your most limited one. That's text. Again, they can do it in that. ODT, I don't remember what ODT is, but saving in Google Docs, you can upload them is a little bit challenging. So you might want to try to get familiar with Microsoft Word or in your Google Docs where you can save as and you can download it. That's going to be a good option. Make sure you can do it kind of quickly. Type your AP ID and initials at the top. Again, same thing I mentioned. Make these files ahead of time. Type them in there. When your timer has 5 minutes remaining, attach your response and click submit. So you need to think about some of these things you're going to have to do. You're going to have to make sure everything's on there that you want. You're going to have to save the file, download the file into the right format, and then you are going to attach the file to the right format. So that's why they're giving you 5 minutes, and you're going to need that 5 minutes because if you encounter a problem, you have to be able to adapt fast. You not being able to submit your stuff because you've not practiced in doing it, which is what I tried to get you to do in the actual exams. You're not going to be pasting a Google Docs link, by the way. Make sure I make that very clear. You have to upload a file. You're not pasting a link like we have done. That's why we did it in that OneDrive, and some people ask, can I upload the file directly to It's Learning for those test situations? You could, but that was getting used to being able to do that. So exam day setup, side-by-side windows, window 1, gun Firefox exam, questions appear, display tester, display timer, use attach, and submit text file. Window 2, when you type your document to Google Doc, Microsoft Word, or Notes. So again, same setup as the other one, but you're going to have to save it and then upload it. I still think this is actually the best option. If you've seen me doing this week's review, none of them have any pictures. And again, this is written by some of the same people who are writing the questions. They're all going to be pros. So I really think there's going to be I know there's going to be no diagrams. I don't think there's going to be a lot of calculation as well. If there is, you're going to have to go with option 3. Unless you're really good and really fast in Microsoft Word, and how you see me do my PowerPoints, that's the same thing. All right, option 3, attach photo of handwritten response and then click submit. That's interesting. They mentioned that handwritten response. Best device to use is a smartphone or a tablet. So write your AP ID, initials, and page number at the top of each page. So if you think you're going to do this, maybe you want to have multiple things available to you to do. You have your paper, you type it on, you write it on top. Write your response clearly with a dark pen or pencil. Hey, that sounds familiar. Your notes should be dark and clear and well written. Yeah, thank you. When the timer has 5 minutes remaining, take a photo of your response in vertical orientation, not landscape. That's something interesting. 1 page per photo. If your response is longer than 1 page, you'll need to attach multiple photos, maximum of 5 photos per test, before clicking submit. Make sure all of your pages before you click submit. So you have to you attach all of them before you click submit. Once you hit submit, there is no going back. You cannot hit the back window. The two things they mentioned over and over again: don't hit back, don't hit refresh. Again, I know I'm coming at you with a lot of facts. I'm just trying to make sure you understand what's going on here. Now, this is an interesting point you need to pay attention to. PNG, JPG, and JPEG. Those are both basically JPEG files and the PNG file. You need to be very careful what you take a picture with. If you're using an iPhone, we've talked about this before, an iPhone takes it in that HEIC format. Now, you can easily find free converters online, and maybe that's something you need to have. So you take the picture with your phone, you upload it to the actual device that you're using, because you can only log on to the computer with one device. So either you're on the test with one device. If you're going to look at it on your computer, which they recommend, and I do too, but you're still going to take a picture, then you need to get that picture from your phone to your computer, then convert it into the correct format, PNG, JPEG, or JPEG, and then you upload it. How do you do that? You take the picture from your Google Drive app. That means it immediately uploads it. So you take it from your Google Drive app, which is on your phone, it uploads it, and then you have Google Drive open in one of the tabs, and then you download it and you download it in one of those 3 file formats. Then you can attach it to the computer. Again, you have 5 minutes to do this, so you need to be able to practice it a couple times. All right, exam days and the same day setup. I went over that already. Okay, so that's the other option. Testing with accommodations. If you have accommodations, they will show up. If you have a visual impairment or things like that, it'll work with it okay. No problem with that. Temporary affliction. A student has a temporary medical or physical condition. Let's say you broke your arm or something like that. You need to email Miss Talent or AP. I would definitely try to Miss Talent. She's the AP coordinator. You're going to want to go over that stuff like that, because if you can't write and you have someone else write for you, you have to have that pre-approved. You cannot go into the test with some condition you don't have pre-approved. Requesting a makeup exam. So if you have any issue on exam day that prevents you from testing successfully, you'll be directed to an online AP makeup testing request form where you can describe what happened and request any ticket for June makeup exams. You can also access it from, this is the website CB, which is collegeboard.org, request makeup. Now, if you never log in May, you are automatically issued a makeup exam ticket. You will be automatically issued one. You don't have to request a makeup. You must have the original e-ticket when filling out this form. So if you're going to request a makeup, something happens during it, you get logged off, the internet stops, a baby cries, the house gets struck by lightning, I don't know, you're beamed up to an alien spaceship and then miraculously beamed down, whatever, you have to have that e-ticket number so that you can reference it. They'll ask you for that. Now, this is interesting. Pay attention to this. We will review the form and send you an email approving or denying the request the week of May 25th. If approved, your makeup e-ticket will be sent 2 days before the makeup test. So the same thing as before. You'll get your e-ticket 2 days before the test in May. You'll get it before the test in June. But the week of May 25th is when they'll tell you, yes, you're approved, or no, you're not approved. Do not call AP services. All the things are closed. Rest assured that you will receive approval for any of the following types of issues you encounter, or similar ones: sickness, significant interruption from family members, battery failures, power outages, technical disruptions. Simply running out of time to submit a response on exam day is not a valid reason for requesting makeup. Understand, you guys, if you say that your battery ran out of power, there are ways that they can tell if that actually happened. So make sure that you have everything set up the best you can. All right, the exam screen will guide students step by step to test day from the moment you click the e-ticket. Most students will be able to navigate the test using only the information on the preceding slides. But unexpected events may occur. We're testing at home and structured benefit from additional preparation and technology. The remaining slides provide further details and tips. We encourage teachers and students to work through the remaining slides together to confirm readiness for at-home exams. So please pay attention to this stuff. Steps to take before the exam day. 1. Review your contact information. If you aren't receiving emails from the AP program, log in to My AP, see that your email address you used when you registered to test. Double check it is correct. A lot of people forget periods for .org, like it's whatever your student number is at forsyth.org. That's a big issue that people are having. So maybe you send an email to yourself from your own email address and you can get it that way. 2, check your tech. Choose and prepare the devices and documents you'll use. Practice submitting the response. When that AP comes on May 4th, and you can test it multiple times, supposedly, you need to practice to make sure you can do it. If you're going to do the picture thing, you take a picture through your Google app. That's just my recommendation. You can always upload it, but take it through Google app. Have your Google Drive open on your other computer. Download the file. Download it in the correct format file. If you're going to do it another way and you have a converting app you want to use, whatever makes you happy. But make sure you practice it, and you can do it well within the 5-minute time frame, not to give you those extra minutes to try to work out the test. The moment that 5 minutes stops, you need to stop working because you may have an issue that you aren't prepared for. But you practice that to make sure you can do it. So if you can do it in 1 minute, that doesn't mean you work for 4 minutes longer. If you push it to the max, I will guarantee that something will happen that will prevent you from submitting it. If you try to do it at the very last minute, I will guarantee it to you right now. Guarantee it 100% sure. You wait till the very last minute to try to submit, you will not get it in. Gather what you need for each exam. Consult cb.org, AP Exam Day Docs, additional materials for your specific exam, things like equation sheets. You want to have your quick reference guides around. You want to have some other resources that you may need. Receive your exam confirmation and email tickets. You get emails with your AP ID and your exam e-ticket. This information will also be in your My AP account. All right, review your contact information. We keep going over this. If you haven't received email updates from the AP program, sign into My AP, confirm your email address. Click the profile at the top right-hand corner, go to account settings, and confirm that your email address is the one you want to for your e-ticket. If you need to change your email address, click update. In subscriptions, confirm that you've checked the box to receive updates from College Board. That could be another reason you're not receiving it. So go to subscriptions and check to make sure you're actually receiving updates. Then create a new contact with the email address, blah, 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 in your address book or safe sender list. A lot of times these emails are immediately chucked to junk mail. So make sure in your safe sender list you have that email listed there, or go to your junk email and find it, and then you can right click on it and make sure it's a safe thing. Don't worry, if you still can't get emails from AP, your e-ticket will also be posted to your My AP account. You want to receive those updates though, but see if you can, and if you can't, but check that subscription thing. All right, check your tech. Choose your device. Check that you have the appropriate devices for your exam and how you're planning to create your response. You won't need the lockdown browser on your devices. There's a lockdown browser they put out. You don't have to worry about that. If you have the Grammarly plugin on your computer, you'll need to remove it to test. So those plugins that you have, sometimes you're going to have to remove them. They especially put out Grammarly. Spell check and grammar check that are built into like Word and stuff like that, and Google Docs, those are fine. But Grammarly was a big one they kept saying is not allowed, obviously for the English purpose. Remember, word language exam, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to worry about that. When choosing between handwritten and typing, keep in mind, this year's questions won't require you to submit graphs or diagrams. You may be more comfortable handwriting response in calculus, chemistry, and statistics, but if you want to type your responses in those subjects, a guide for how to type symbols and formulas can be found or downloaded at this. So this was that thing I talked to you about how to do quick subscripts and superscripts and things like that. You might want to take a look at that. Practice it a little bit. But if you've looked at the problems that I have given you this week and the ones I'll be giving you next week, those are all problems where you don't have to do any of those kind of stuff. So it's going to be really limited how much you're going to have to do with that. In most other subjects, you might have to work a little bit out on paper, and then you can write your answers, type your answers, but whatever makes you feel comfortable. In most other subjects, using a smartphone will require scrolling back and forth within a question, which many students will find frustrating, so we recommend a desktop or laptop if available. All right, check your tech preparing your documents. Decide whether you're using Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Notes, or another application. Again, you're going to have to be able to download in the correct file format. We recommend turning on autosave or similar features, because if something crashes, it's automatically saved, which is helpful. If you're using a cloud document like Google Docs and want to attach your document rather than copy and paste, remember that you'll need to download your response in one of the approved formats, doc, docx, pdf, .txt. Now notice what they didn't have in this one and the other one. I'm a little confused about that one. None of these are Google specific. That's when you download and you save as, and it will show you there. And we'll go through that one. And save it to your device. Actually, let me show you what that looks like in Google Docs. Let me pull it up right here quick. Nice. Okay, so if I create a new file, Google Docs, I name it whatever, name it as your name, you know, my name is, okay. You put your AP ID right up here, AP ID, right? And have this done ahead of time and it's easily accessible. And initials, so mine would be JKC. Now, when I go to File, let me make sure I know how to do this. Here we go, Download. Microsoft Word. That's one you can do. See, that's the open document format that they didn't list on the last slide, so I would stay away from that since they don't have it on both, but they have made a couple mistakes here and there. PDF, plain text. I'd stick with this one. That's just me. It's going to keep the formatting the best way. PDF is also a good one. It should keep it the same way. TXT, just be careful of that. But one of those two is what I would recommend. Don't use the rich text format. That's not one that's available. Just use that top one. And what it's going to do is it's going to download wherever you want it to be downloaded. I'd make sure you know exactly where it's going. You might want to do the desktop for this case so you can upload it there. All right. And save it to your device. Before test day, prepare your docs by typing your Apple ID and initials at the top and saving it to a clearly labeled folder on your desktop so it will be easy to find. We mentioned that before. For other AP exams that have 2 questions this year, you will need to create and save 2 documents per exam. So if you have 2 questions, it's 2 documents per exam. Name them clearly so you know you're attaching the right one at the right time, such as AP Biology question 1, AP Biology question 2. Obviously, they're going to be AP Physics question 1, AP Physics question 2. That's a very good idea. All right. Check your tech preparing your documents handwriting. If you're going to handwrite it and take a picture, use white paper, lined or unlined. Use paper that's standard size or close to it. Use a number 2 pencil or pen with black or blue ink. Don't be using pretty colors. No green, no red, no purple, no pink, nothing like that. Because the maximum number of pages you can attach per question is 5. At most, you'll need 5 pages for AP English and AP History exams and 10 pages for all their exams. Seriously, if you submit a 10-page exam responses, this is bad. You didn't do it. You need to be a little more succinctly than that, unless it's English or other stuff, just so you know. But it's highly unlikely you will need to use this many pages for your response. Which can often be answered in just 1 to 2 pages. Before test day, prepare your pages by writing your AP ID, your initials, and a page number, which is a great idea, at the top of each page. So up to 5 pages for question 1, up to 5 pages for question 2. So these are great things just to have prepped ahead of time, ready to go. All right, so practice submitting response with AP demo from May 4th. You can access AP 2020 exam demo right there. It will also allow you to practice the different ways to submit your responses. How fast can you do it? Figure it out. Don't figure it out so that you can work into that 5-minute time frame. Figure out so when you start submitting, if there's an issue, you might know a couple different ways to do it. Update your browser. See tips on slide 51. You're going to have to probably look at this number to find 51. Then try again. If you still can't access the demo, ask your AP coordinator to help you, and that's Miss Talent, to school tech expert. So that's not going to be me. That's going to be Miss Talent. She's going to request you to she's going to tell you who the tech experts are, like Miss Payne, things like that. All right, all AP exams for those with portfolio components. That is not us. Okay, so here's Physics 1 algebra base. You're going to required AP Physics 1 table of information and formula. That's the formula sheet. Same thing with APC. AP Physics 1 permitted calculator. AP Physics C permitted calculator. Same thing as well. Obviously, you can use a calculator because it's how you keep people doing it. Okay, advice about optional resources. So this is important to pay attention. This is what you can use. You can use class resources and class notes on this year's AP exam. The following resources can be used either printed or digital. Class notes or study guides or quick reference guides, textbooks and other classroom resources, previous assignments or assessments, calculators. Shared study notes must be downloaded for each student's device to prevent collaboration violations. So if you're both looking at the same thing, even through Google Docs, that's a collaboration. That can get you busted, get all of your colleges to tell you that you're a cheater, and to get your AP exam voided. So don't be collaborating on anything. Download it to your own stuff and save it. Internet searches will waste your time and put you at risk of an exam violation. The more time you spend searching the web, the less time you spend answering the exam question. Internet-based facts, research, and opinions aren't relevant to the AP exam and won't raise student scores. They have written these in that specific way. Look at the ones I've been doing this week. They'll help you understand that. Copying from websites, social media, or online forums is considered plagiarism and will be detected and scores canceled. Best practices can be found at that website right there. All right, May 4th, Apple ID, this sort of, information. May 4th, you receive an email confirmation on May 4th with your Apple ID, with your AP ID and list of exams you're registered for. In the meantime, you can check which exams you're registered for in My AP. You want to make sure you're registered for the exams. If you're not listed in the registry of AP exams, you weren't part of the exam registration we received from your school, and it's too late to generate any ticket for your test this year. But you do want to make sure you know which ones you're registered for. 2 days before each exam, you'll be emailed your personalized e-ticket AP ID, Apple ID. All right, complete AP exam day checklist. So there is an actual checklist you're going to want to go through and print off if you can, or at least download, but I'd recommend you print it off. Print or handwrite the copy, print or hand copy the AP exam checklist. The most important things to fill in is your 8-character Apple ID code, which is located on your e-ticket. You'll need this code to check into your exam 30 minutes before the local start time. Now, you're like, whoa, why would I check in 30 minutes? To make sure everything's ready to go. Don't wait to the last minute. If your exam is at 1 p.m. and you wait till 12:50, this is a bad choice. There are stuff you have to do before the exam starts. The exam will be released at 1 o'clock. That doesn't mean you haven't gone through the 10, 15, or 20 minutes worth of security checkpoints beforehand. So if you log in at 1 o'clock and your exam starts at 1 o'clock, don't plan on getting into the exam until you've finished all of the checklist stuff that they're going to make you go through on their end, like security checks, information, things of that nature. Exam day. 30 minutes before you start your local time, check in. Use e-ticket to check in, complete, identify information, wait for exam to begin. 45-minute question appears, then you get your 5 minutes. 30 minutes before your local start time. Oh, I'm sorry, that's for that one. So this one, use your ticket, check in your exam, complete registration. All of a sudden, once the time starts, your 25 minutes will start. It does not start when you log in. It starts when it starts. Now, if your exam starts at 1 o'clock, it starts at 1 o'clock. Those 25 minutes have started. Whether you're online, asleep, at the beach or not, that's when it starts. Read the question. When there's 5 minutes to go, submit the response. Wait for question 2. Once that timer, it'll show you a thing, turns red, you stop working. Do not work into that. Remember, you don't have to finish every part of every question to get a 5. And if you submit no work because you come into 5 different problems, that doesn't matter. You didn't time yourself well. Use that whole 5 minutes to get in. Hey, you submit it in 30 seconds. Beautiful. Sit there for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Meditate, chill out, prep your resources. 15 minutes. Question 2 appears. Read the question. 5 minutes. Submit the response. Exam is complete. They will not show you the next question early. Not going to happen that way. They show everybody the question at the exact same time, no matter what time people started or started submitting. Exam day music there. That's not us. All right, your testing environment. This is important to understand. Do your best to test by yourself in a quiet room. Find someplace you can test quietly. Remove distractions. Enable the do not disturb or quiet setting on your device. That would be your phone. Let your parents, guardians, siblings, and friends know that you're going to be testing at this time and to leave you alone. This is why they made it 45 minutes. They didn't make it 3 hours. Make sure your device is plugged in. Even if it's a phone, I'd make sure it's plugged in, or you have the plug right there next to you, and I'd keep it plugged in as long as you can. If you have an iPad or you're using a tablet or a laptop, make sure it's plugged in. Don't just assume that because you say fully charged, it's going to be fully charged. If you have limited bandwidth, and this is very important, ask others on your network to limit their use of internet during exam, particularly high bandwidth stuff like Fortnite, like any online game, like streaming service, like Netflix. Ask, can we please have no internet usage, please, while I'm taking my exam? This is important. Now, slow bandwidth. The moment you hit submit, it starts to upload. Now, it doesn't matter how long it takes to upload. Once you've hit submit, you're good. It's going to upload. If it's uploading a byte a second, which is kind of crazy, it will upload in the background. So you could still be working on the next question and it still be uploading. But you want to make sure You hit that submit before that 5 minutes is up, and you have as few people online as you can on your particular network. If you can be plugged in, be plugged in. Wi-Fi is nice, don't get me wrong, but if you have the option to be next to the router in the room and physically plugged in, if that's possible, I mean, it might not be, it wouldn't be, well, no, it might be for me, but it might not be possible, but that's going to be your fastest internet and most secure internet connection. Exam security. Let's go over this in detail. You may not incorporate work which is not your own and you may not provide or receive aid of any kind from anyone. Let's not beat around the bush, people. I know what your work looks like. You cannot have someone there helping you as a timer. You're going to have someone there helping you clean up your work. That is cheating. Not to mention they'll be spotted by them as besides also by me. To identify students attempting to receive help through a web, a phone, social media, sophisticated detected technologies and processing will be applied. You guys, they've already caught multiple people for cheating, and those schools have already been contacted, and they haven't even taken the test, and they caught them cheating already. Conspiracy is a crime. Most techniques will remain confidential to maximize their effectiveness. We will be monitoring social media and discussion sites to detect and disrupt cheating. Now, before you guys think this is some real black ops stuff, it's not. Shows do it all the time. The show Blackish, I had one of the guys who ran the social media for that company. While the show was watching, they were looking for trend words, things like that, different posts. There was stuff specifically they were looking for so they could monitor what was going on. And if you think they only know about Facebook, MySpace even used before, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, you're crazy. The social media experts that they literally hired them out of Hollywood. These are people who are looking to see how things are trending for shows to modify shows. That's some of the stuff they're going to be using. So this is stuff that's already being used. So don't think you're going to get around it. We remain confidential. We may post content designed to confuse and deter those who attempt to cheat. Whoa, that's the one I didn't read before. I don't think that was on the slide when I saw it. We will be monitoring social media and discussion sites to detect, disrupt cheating. We may post content designed to confuse and deter those who attempt to cheat. I don't remember that being on the one when he went over it because there were changes they've already made to this. Attempts to cheat will be detected immediately during testing or will be identified in June and July simultaneously with exam scoring. In addition, students' exam will be scanned by plagiarism detection software. Well, what if I handwrite it? Yeah, sorry, buddy. That's still going to be detected. Shared directly with their teachers. That's one of the ways. Again, I am the last line of defense for you guys, as are your other teachers who are in your other AP classes. Students found violating exam security will face severe consequences, which can include having their names reported to college administrative offices. They've already said that they've done that for people. AP exam scores canceled. More about exam security, you can check there. This isn't a joke, you guys. Make sure it's your work. If you have a tutor, don't have them anywhere around you while you're taking this exam. All right. Check in your exam 30 minutes before the start time. So for your exam, check in by clicking the specific e-ticket that you exam. You'll need to spend a few minutes passing through various security filters to confirm your identity. So again, more security. Doesn't matter if you check in 1 minute before the exam. You still got to go through these before you start the exam, and the exam still starts at the time it says it starts. A timer will show how much time remains until the start of the exam. Now, supposedly this timer can be shrunk down. Don't shrink it down. Once the exam starts, the first exam question will automatically appear. You should not refresh the browser. You don't want to hit refresh. You don't want to hit back. You don't want to hit forward. Answering the exam questions. For most exams, the question is divided into parts, labeled in alphabetical order. Use those letters to organize your response to make sure you're not accidentally skipping any part. So you need to make sure you're answering every part and it's clearly labeled. If people can't follow your work, they can't grade your work. You may use spell check and grammar check, but these will not provide any advantage. I mean, grammar check ain't going to help you much in physics, obviously. If you've installed a Grammarly plugin, disable it or the exam won't function. Supposedly, you won't even be able to log on to the exam. You could play with it if you want to see if it will on May 4th, but they've made that very clear to us. You may print the test questions and annotate them if you like, but you can't annotate software. You can't use annotation software to annotate online. So if you're going to annotate, you got to print them off on your own. Exams with more than one question, you won't be able to move on to the second question until the time for the first question has fully elapsed. Once the time for the first question has finished, the second question will automatically appear. Once you submit a question, you can't go back to it. So once you hit that submit button, oh, I submitted the wrong stuff. Nothing they can do about that. That's your submission. And if you think that's going to be an excuse to take the June exam, be careful. That's why you want the whole 5 minutes. All right, so yeah, there it is. There's that picture. During the exam, you'll see a timer at the bottom of the screen show how much time remains to create and submit your response. Keep that timer visible. 5 minutes before time is up, the timer turns red. You'll see it pop up a reminder that you to submit your response. Stop where you are, copy, paste, and attach your work, then click submit. You can still earn a 5 even if you don't finish your response. If you don't submit your response on time, you won't get any credit for it. Don't wait till the last minute. Like I said, I will guarantee you that it will not work if you wait till the last minute to submit. Losing track of time and not submitting a response before final runs out is not an acceptable reason for requesting makeup testing. AP will set standards for scores of 3, 4, and 5 this year so that it is not more difficult to earn a high AP score this year than it was in prior to years. All right, submitting your responses. I know this is a long PowerPoint. Sorry about that. Submitting responses in a 2-step process, attaching or pasting your response. Click submit. If you don't click submit before the timer runs out, your response will not count. Once you click submit, your response may continue to be transferred depending on your bandwidth. So again, if it's a slow response if it's a slow upload, but you hit the submit button, it can upload in the background. This will be able to move on to the next question, even though while your first question continues to transfer, as long as you click submit before the time ran out. If your response to continue to transfer after the exam ends, wait for an on-screen message confirming that your exam is complete. Make sure your submissions have fully loaded before you close your browser. Oh, I closed it and I wasn't finished uploading. Again, nothing they can do for you. That's why we're going over this in such detail. If you never see that your AP exam is complete message, you should go to Request Makeup to explain the situation and require an e-ticket for June. All right, so there's that piece. What could go wrong while I'm testing? If you accidentally close the browser, your device crashes, or you temporarily lose internet access, you can quickly click your exam e-ticket again and return to the exam. Continue the exam, and if you feel at the end of the exam that you are temporarily disrupted and negatively impacted your performance, you can request approval. So if it crashes, go back, finish it. But if you're like, you know what, man, this didn't work out for me, I want to request a submission, another submission, then do it. But understand that means your first submission isn't really going to count. Continue the exam, and if you feel Tip, during the exam, don't refresh your browser or hit the back arrow. Don't call. Customer service centers aren't open. I'm not going to read anymore. Don't call. All right, exam scores, credit, and placement. So this part is not about how to take the test and stuff like that. So if you want to bail out on this part, that's fine. If you want to just look at the PowerPoint, I'm going to attach it to the post I put up as well. But here we go. As usual, exam scores will be scored by AP readers, 1 to 5 scale. To accommodate the intended scoring schedule, which requires all exams to be scored online in readers' homes. AP scores will be released to AP students approximately 1 week later than usual, beginning about July 15th. These are different colleges and universities. You got Vanderbilt. You got Purdue. My sister went to Purdue. You got University of California system. That's like Berkeley, all of them. University of Connecticut, Virginia Tech, Brandeis University, University of Washington, Wheaton College, Boston, I've not heard of that one. Western Michigan, George Washington. This, by the way, it's the George Washington Bullets, I believe. It's kind of a cool thing. There are a bunch of others. Those are just the ones that got up there. You can take a look. But colleges, a few examples of the consistent support we've heard from colleges all over. During this challenge time, AP program wants everyone interested in AP to have the opportunity to earn the college credit they've been working toward. Stay safe and healthy. You guys, College Board has done their best because they lose all credibility if they can't give you college credit. This is literally their business model. Without the ability to get college credit, they go out of business. Whether they're a nonprofit or not, trust me, you're going to get your college score if you get the right grades. All right, check your tech browser. This is an important piece. If you cannot access the exam demo available for May 4th at CBS 2020, you won't be able to take the exam test. Follow these steps to change your browser. So this is an important little step here. The AP exam will only open in the latest version of Chrome preferred, Firefox, Safari, or Edge. 2020 exams won't work in Internet Explorer. If you need to install Chrome, which is free, do it at Google, search for Get Latest Chrome Browser, and follow instructions. Make sure Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or Edge. Safari, by the way, is what the default is for Apple, but you can still download Chrome. Is your default browser. Send an email to yourself with a link to the website you like. Click the link and see what type of browser opens. What that means, so if you click a link, it's whatever automatically opens, that's your default. And you can change your default in your settings. Disable any browser plugins or extensions such as Grammarly to ensure you can access the AP exam. However, keep plugins you need for accessibility, Chromevox. These are things if you have like to increase size of fonts and stuff. Do a Google search, how to disable browser extensions. All right, that's it, people. I hope you paid attention. Sorry it took so long. but I wanted to make sure I went over it. Ask me questions on my mind. Come to the live sessions where I'm going over those things, and I often have non-content related help on there as well.